Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving headfirst into the electric vehicle arena, putting two major forces under the microscope, BYD and Tesla.
Absolutely. We've gathered a range of sources from in-depth research, company overviews, and some direct comparisons to really get a handle on where these two giants stand.
It's a fast-moving world, the EV space.
It really is. And for you listening, our mission is pretty clear. We want to distill the essential insights.
Yeah.
By the end of this, you should have a solid understanding of the whole BYD versus Tesla landscape.
Yeah.
You know, who they are, how they stack up, and what their impact really means for the electric future.
Sounds good.
So let's kick things off by looking at BYD.
Right, BYD, build your dreams. They have a really interesting origin story. They weren't always about cars.
No, not at all.
Believe it or not, they started way back in 1995, and they were actually a battery manufacturer first.
That's right, batteries first,
Yeah.
which is fascinating context. And it wasn't until, what, 2003 that they made the jump into the automotive world?
Now, BYD Auto is, well, completely focused on what they call new energy vehicles, or NEVs. Think of that as their umbrella term for the greener options, specifically the fully electric cars, the BEVs, and also the plug-in hybrids, the PHEVs, which still have a gasoline engine, but you can plug them in too.
And that dual focus, BEV and PHEV, has really allowed them to cater to a broader range of people, you know, depending on needs and what charging infrastructure is available.
Definitely. And you've probably heard of some of their popular models by now, like the sleek BYD Seal sedan,
Yeah, seeing those around.
or the versatile Atto 3 SUV, and the compact BYD Dolphin hatchback.
And it's impossible to talk about BYD without getting into their tech, their Blade battery, for instance.
Yes, the Blade battery.
It's generating a lot of buzz, mostly for safety, but also efficiency. The way it's built, the architecture, it fundamentally reduces the risk of thermal runaway. That's a huge safety advantage.
A potential game changer for battery safety then.
Could be. It really challenges the industry standard, potentially becoming a benchmark. And they've also developed the E-Platform 3.0.
Okay, what's that?
Think of the E-Platform 3.0 as BYD's way of rethinking how an EV is built, like from the ground up. They integrate the battery pack right into the vehicle structure.
Which helps with safety again.
Yeah, enhances safety, but it also frees up space. You get a longer wheelbase, often means more passenger comfort, better stability. It's a key difference from, older EV designs or conversions.
Okay, so we're looking at a company that started with batteries, became a major auto player, and is really pushing the envelope with some serious tech. Now, the big question, how does BYD really stack up as a competitor to Tesla?
The rivalry. It's intense, and it's driven by a few key things. Market presence, their different tech approaches, and maybe most noticeably for consumers, their pricing strategies.
Right.
What's fascinating here is that BYD was actually the top seller of EVs in China for like 6 solid years,
Yeah.
2014 to 2019.
Wow, 6 years straight.
Yeah, that gives you a real sense of their early dominance in a market China that is just absolutely crucial for the future of EVs.
That really puts their current position into perspective. They're definitely not just newcomers riding a wave.
Not at all.
And more recently, wasn't it 2023, BYD actually overtook Tesla, became the largest producer of electrified vehicles globally.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Electrified, so including those PHEVs we mentioned, but still a huge milestone.
It really is a major power shift we're talking about.
It certainly is. And it wasn't just about the numbers game,
Yeah.
know? It signaled a real shift in the EV market. It showed the power of focusing on affordability and really catering to that massive Chinese domestic demand.
A strategy Tesla hasn't quite matched.
Well, Tesla's focus has been more premium historically. They haven't fully replicated that mass market affordability approach, especially in China.
And this brings us right to the heart of our comparison. Market share and just the sheer scale of their operations.
Exactly. BYD's commanding presence in China gives them massive economies of scale in production.
Okay, break that down. Economies of scale means.
Essentially, because BYD makes so many vehicles, and crucially their own batteries in China, they can buy parts in huge quantities, optimize their production lines. It ultimately brings down the cost of each individual car.
Which is a big reason why they can offer those lower prices.
A very big reason. They can produce vehicles and batteries at a volume that, well, Tesla currently struggles to match in Asia.
That makes perfect sense. Volume driving down costs. Now let's dive into the tech side a bit more. We've touched on BYD's Blade battery and their E-Platform 3.0. How does Tesla's tech approach compare?
Tesla's strengths, they really lie in other areas, most notably their advanced autonomous driving capabilities, autopilot, full self-driving beta.
Right, the self-driving stuff.
Yeah, that's a big focus.
Yeah.
And also their incredibly sophisticated over-the-air software updates.
Ah, okay, explain that.
Think of it like your smartphone getting new features and fixes automatically overnight. Tesla can do that with their cars, remotely. It's a big advantage for keeping the vehicle up to date, adding new functions without a trip to the dealer.
Got it. So while BYD is pushing battery and platform tech.
Right. Tesla has really been pushing the boundaries of, let's say, vehicle intelligence and connectivity, especially with their vision-based autonomous systems.
Okay, different areas of tech focus then. Now let's get down to what a lot of people notice first, the price tag. This seems like a really key differentiator.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the biggest differences. BYD's models generally come in at a much more accessible price point.
Like,
Well, for example, you can find their Dolphin starting around £30,000 in the UK, whereas Tesla's Model 3, their entry-level model really typically starts closer to £40,000.
that's a significant gap.
It is, and it makes BYD a much more attractive option for a broader range of consumers, maybe people who are more budget conscious or just entering the EV market.
So BYD is really aiming for a different slice of the market with that pricing strategy. What about the types of vehicles they offer? Is there a big difference in the product range itself?
Yes, definitely. BYD offers a much broader portfolio. You've got various segments covered from those compact Dolphin hatchbacks we mentioned, right up to larger SUVs, sedans like the Seal. They have quite a mix.
And Tesla.
Tesla, on the other hand, has historically concentrated more on premium models, your Model S, Model X, Model 3, Model Y. They're gradually expanding, but BYD's range is just wider right now.
So BYD can tap into a larger portion of the overall car market.
Exactly. More segments, potentially more customers.
Now, one thing that caught my eye in our research was the impact of weather. How conditions affect EV performance. How does this play into BYD's growth, especially as they expand into places with, well, actual winters?
That's a really important point, yeah. Cold weather can reduce EV range. Some studies suggest an average drop of around maybe 19% in freezing temperatures.
Which is not insignificant.
No, definitely not. But BYD has been quite proactive here. Their technologies, like sophisticated battery preheating systems, help to minimize this range loss.
How effective are they?
Well, tests on their Blade battery in very cold conditions, we're talking around minus 15 degrees Celsius, showed it could still retain a respectable 60% of its original range.
60% at minus 15°C. That's pretty good, actually.
It is, and this cold weather performance is also tied into that E-Platform 3.0 we talked about. It has advanced thermal management capabilities built in. It's a more robust system overall.
Okay, so while cold weather is still a factor for all EVs, it sounds like BYD might have put some serious thought into mitigating those effects.
They seem to be taking it very seriously, yes.
What about rain and humidity? Are those significant concerns for BYD EVs?
Generally speaking, rain and humidity are less of a major concern for modern electric vehicles, and that includes BYD's lineup. They're engineered to operate safely in wet conditions. Of course, like any vehicle, electric or not, actual flooding can present significant risks. But normal rain, less of an issue for the core EV components.
Right, standard car stuff there. Okay, let's circle back to the quality and price question. We've established BYD is generally more affordable, but how does the perceived quality compare?
That's interesting. Tesla has definitely built a strong perception of being a premium brand, associated with cutting-edge features, that minimalist design, a powerful brand image overall.
Right, the Tesla cool factor.
Exactly. But BYD is rapidly closing that gap, or at least changing perceptions, especially with their newer models like the Seal.
What are people saying about the Seal?
They're getting a lot of positive feedback. Reviewers often mention the level of refinement, the interior quality, overall comfort. It feels like a step up.
So the quality is improving significantly.
It seems so. The general feeling seems to be that BYD provides better value for money. Maybe not always the absolute peak of luxury or tech features like Tesla, but a really solid balance of quality at that more accessible price point.
Value proposition. That makes a lot of sense in terms of their market positioning. So with this strategy, competitive pricing, improving quality, how is BYD actually doing on the global stage? Sales, market impact.
Well, they've built a truly global sales network. It's quite impressive. They're selling vehicles in over 50 countries now.
50? Wow. Where are they focusing?
Obviously, a very strong presence in their home market, China. That's the bedrock. But also growing fast in Europe. Places like the UK, Germany, the Netherlands. They're expanding into Hungary and Turkey, too.
Okay, Europe's a key battleground.
Definitely. And then there's the Asia-Pacific region, Australia, India, Thailand are significant markets. Plus, they're actively expanding their reach into other parts of the world. The U.S. is on the radar, South America, the Middle East, Africa. It's a broad push.
That's a truly global footprint they're building. And what's the bigger picture impact of this? This global expansion and their focus on more affordable EVs.
I think BYD's strategy is significantly accelerating the global transition to electric mobility. It's quite profound, actually.
Oh,
By offering these more accessible options, they are genuinely helping to bring electric cars to a wider range of consumers, people who might have previously been priced out of the market entirely.
democratizing EVs in a way.
You could say that. And their success, of course, creates more intense competition within the whole EV sector.
Which is good for consumers.
Generally, yes. It pushes other manufacturers, Tesla included, to innovate faster, maybe lower their own prices eventually. It just stews the pot and benefits everyone looking to go electric.
It really sounds like BYD's rise is a major driving force in this whole global shift. Now, while Tesla is clearly a primary competitor, maybe the competitor everyone watches, who else is in this increasingly crowded electric vehicle arena? It's not just a two-horse race, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. The EV market is becoming incredibly dynamic, lots of players. Within China itself, beyond BYD, you have some very strong contenders.
Like who?
Well, there's NIO. They're known for more premium EVs and that really innovative battery swapping technology they use.
Right, swap the battery instead of charging it.
Exactly. Then there's XPeng. They focus a lot on smart EVs, particularly advanced driver assistance systems. And Li Auto is another interesting one. They specialize in extended range electric vehicles, or EREVs, which use a small gasoline generator to charge the battery, offering a different take on electrification.
So strong domestic competition for BYD, even within China. Now, looking beyond China, who are the key global competitors we should be watching?
Globally, we're seeing major moves from the established automotive giants. Think of the Volkswagen Group that includes Audi, Porsche, VW itself. Their ID series of EVs is expanding rapidly.
Okay, VW Group. Who else?
General Motors, they've got vehicles like the Chevrolet Bolt, and their big bet is the Ultium platform, which will underpin a whole range of new EVs across their brands.
Right, Ultium.
Then you have the Hyundai Kia Group. Their Ioniq series, like the Ioniq 5 and 6, have been really impressive, winning lots of awards.
Yeah, they've made big strides.
Definitely. Don't forget the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi Alliance. They've got long-standing EVs like the Nissan Leaf, the Renault Zoe. And finally, Geely Volvo. They own Volvo, Polestar, and have newer premium EV brands like Zeekr. They're gaining considerable traction too.
Wow, okay. It's definitely a packed field. Lots of big, established names throwing their weight around. Are there any newer or emerging EV brands that you think we should keep an eye on? The potential disruptors?
Absolutely. There are quite a few interesting ones. Rivian, for example.
Ah, the electric trucks and SUVs.
Exactly. The R1T pickup and R1S SUV. They're really carving out a niche in that adventure, off-road capable segment.
Okay, Rivian. Who else?
Lucid Motors, they're aiming squarely at the luxury end, competing more with, say, the Mercedes EQS or Tesla Model S Plaid. Their big selling point is the exceptional range of the Lucid Air sedan.
Right, huge range figures from Lucid.
Yeah. And then there's Fisker. They're trying to disrupt with innovative designs, a focus on sustainability, and aiming for affordability with models like the Fisker Ocean SUV.
So a real mix of fresh faces and established names all scrambling for a piece of this growing EV pie. What about the really traditional automakers? The Fords, the Toyotas, the Stellantis group?
We're seeing significant moves from them too, absolutely. Ford has jumped in strongly with the Mustang Mach-E crossover and the F-150 Lightning electric pickup hitting key segments right away.
The Lightning's been a big deal.
Huge. Stellantis, that's the group with Jeep, Ram, Peugeot, Fiat, Chrysler, etc. They're developing a wide array of electric vehicles across their many brands. Lots coming from them.
And Toyota. They seemed a bit slower on pure BEVs.
They did, focusing more on hybrids initially.
Yeah.
But even Toyota, while perhaps taking a more measured approach, is expanding its BZ series of fully battery electric vehicles. They know they need to be there.
Right. And we shouldn't forget those other Chinese brands we mentioned earlier going global.
Exactly.
Yeah.
NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto all have ambitions for significant international growth. Plus, others like Great Wall Motor, their Aura brand is already selling in Europe. And SA Motor, whose MG brand is actually gaining quite a global EV presence now, building on that historic name.
It certainly sounds like the electric vehicle revolution is, well, it's fully underway, no turning back now, and BYD is playing a really pivotal dynamic role in it all.
Couldn't agree more.
So to kind of bring everything we've explored today together, what's the bottom line?
Well, in essence, BYD has firmly established itself as a very significant and rapidly expanding competitor to Tesla, particularly through its strategic focus on affordability, its dominant position in that massive Chinese market, and its really notable advancements in crucial battery technology, like the Blade battery.
Okay, so a major force.
Definitely. Now, while Tesla clearly maintains that strong premium brand identity and, still holds a lead in areas like autonomous driving capabilities and maybe software, BYD presents a really compelling value proposition.
Making EVs more accessible.
Exactly. It's significantly increasing the accessibility of electric vehicles on a global scale. And looking beyond just those two, the broader competitive landscape is incredibly rich and evolving so quickly. You've got this diverse mix of established global automakers and innovative newcomers, all pushing things forward, all contributing to the ongoing transformation of electric mobility.
Okay, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the dynamic between BYD and Tesla and that whole wider electric vehicle market. It really highlights just how rapidly this industry is changing.
It's fascinating to watch.
It really is. Now, for a final thought for you listening to consider, given BYD's current growth trajectory and this increasing global emphasis on affordability and sustainable transportation, how might the global automotive landscape look in the next 10 years? And, maybe more fundamentally, what role will different pricing strategies ultimately play in achieving the widespread adoption of electric vehicles for everyone?
A big question to ponder.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.